Those who know me know I'm addicted to using an extruder. And I've been experimenting with putting a pattern design into the barrel of the extruder and then forcing that through a shaped disc. And so that's what I'm going to be showing you. I started with a plug, a cane that had extruded elements, components, and I looked at that and thought it might be interesting as the center of a flower. So I wrapped it with black and white stripes, and then I added a heavy wrap, two number ones of white, because I want that to be the petal. In order to fit in the barrel of my extruder, I needed to have a cane this size. So I used that as and so I knew when I was here, I needed to reduce that a little bit. So here's the reduced cane that's going to go into the extruder. This is a combination PCE extruder, but this the technique will work with any other extruder also. I brace the extruder against the end of the table and gently pump down. I'm going to cut that off. You're going to have two ends that are slightly different, and the center will be consistent. This would be what would be your scrap. So there'll be a slight difference. But the majority of your... And what we're going to do next is I'm going to take the same cane and reduce it to a smaller disc so that you can see what happens.
Okay. But you have a way of seeing what to do with these things.
Yes. Yes, I do. I found that I wanted to have a consistent wrap on the things that I was extruding, so that the edges of leaves or flowers, petals, would have a wrap. This is what's going to go in, but I've added about an inch or so of a solid color, the color that I want to sheathe that pattern. And this is the disc. And you'll notice I've got these marks. That's because I want to place the disc in a certain way over that pattern, and certain patterns lend themselves to other things. And if I give myself a top and bottom guideline, I can then, because I'm not going to see where to line this up when I put it into the extruder, this tells me I know that I want the bottom of the leaf there and the top to hit that. So it's just a guide for me, a visual guide.
So the turquoise is surrounding the
exactly. It's like a wrap.
Okay. And
it's going to be, it'll get thinner as it goes to the end, but the majority cut them, so I ended up with this. And then I was to this point,
right.
And I joined them, and then I put them through a pedal disc.
So how many times did you do this? 1, 2, you wrap,
right.
3, small,
right.
4,
right, and then 5.
5, okay.
I just used the same pattern, but I put it through the lotus disc. And the lotus disc made that shape, and then I put 3 of them together to make the earrings. When you make a cane that you love, you can use it in so many different ways by extruding it through different discs of different sizes. I think most people have been doing primarily component caning, they've been extruding the components for a cane. Well, this takes that just the next step. But that same shape that we extruded here is what made these earrings. These are just prototype designs. Be components for a bracelet.
How many pieces are in that?
There are 2 extrusions per.
Oh, I see.
Okay, see there.
Okay, so there are 2 pieces.
Right, put together.
Put together with a circle.
Right, joining them.
Yeah.
And this is the same disc with just 2 different patterns overlaid.
2
layers, and different patterns in each layer.
And you're baking that on a form? Or?
I'm baking it on a form that Kim Karinga is in your book.
Right.
I've made mine taller and wider. And this little ball, built on ultralight and then covered with a very thin layer of scrap clay, is all made with tiny extrusions that have been sliced and appliqued to the surface and then brushed with a metal pulver. It can be very delicate, and the extruder dies hold those little edges. Each one of those is a little extrusion that's been sliced and appliqued to a disc of clay. And I'm just starting to play with these.